Hello, my name is Nick Crampy, and I'm here today to talk to you about water scarcity. I'm going to look in particular at Nigeria and just the African region mainly, but focusing in on Nigeria. First, I want to start by looking at what is water scarcity. We're going to knock that out first. And when a lot of people think of water scarcity, they just think of, you know, water isn't there. But water scarcity is actually more than just a lack of water. Water scarcity, it can be one of two things. It can be like the general uh, assumption or the general thought of most people that that there just isn't water there, which is, lack of water, not enough quantity, or there's lack of access to safe water. So, I mean, it's kind of a two-part deal there. But most people they think of water scarcity, they think of, water just isn't there, but it's more than that. Many people in developed countries today take clean water for granted, and I think that's really big. Like here in America, I mean, we really don't have to worry about that at all. And I mean, I think at times we definitely do take it for granted, just because it's not something that we've ever had to live without. So there's two types of water scarcity. There's physical water scarcity, but that's when physical access to water is limited. The demand for water outstrips the land's ability to provide for it. And when you think of that, you think of like the western U.S., like Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico, that region, because there's just not enough water there. Like there's not enough rain. Like they access all the water that they can, but there's just not enough there to provide at times. Then there's economic water scarcity. This is the more disturbing form of water scarcity. This is when the water is present, but a population has no monetary means to access it. And this is what happens in Nigeria, Africa, those parts of the world. That the water is there, but they just cannot get to it. Really, I mean that's what it comes down to. They just cannot access the water. It's there, but they just can't get to it. Who deals with water scarcity? Around 1.2 billion people, or almost one-fifth of the world's population, live in areas of physical scarcity. Another 500 million people are approaching this situation. And when you think of that, those are large and alarming numbers. I mean, you just think of that 1.2 billion people right now that suffer from physical scarcity of water, and 500 million more approaching the situation. That's alarming for sure. Who deals with water scarcity? It affects every continent in a way. I mean, you think of, I talk about America. We don't suffer from the economic water scarcity, but the physical water scarcity we definitely are affected by in the western parts of the U.S. By the year 2025, two-thirds of the population could face water shortages. Nigeria is one of the most affected areas when it comes to water scarcity. And there's just a picture there of there was probably a river at one point, and it's just, or a lake, some body of water, and it's just completely dried up now. And here's a picture that kind of shows the water scarcity throughout the world. I mean, as you see here, the red will indicate physical water scarcity, and that, like I said earlier, is the western U.S. right here. Then you got economic water scarcity, when the people they don't have the means to access the water. It's there at times, but they just cannot access it, and that's Nigeria's around in here. but that affects a good majority of the African continent. What causes water scarcity? It is both a natural and man-made problem. Believe it or not, there's enough fresh water on this earth for 7 billion people. And that does say billion. I know that's kind of hard to grasp, but it's there. It is unevenly distributed, and much of it is polluted and wasted. As you can see in the pictures, I mean, that's just that's totally man-made there. I mean, it's just our lack of care for the water. I mean, we do kind of take it for granted, and that's just our lack of failing to maintain it, really. What causes water scarcity? Much of the available water is used improperly. As valuable as agriculture is to society, it uses more water than any other one source and uses much of it ineffectively. Man wastes water in many ways, further depleting the freshwater supply. And I mean, you think that we can't live without agriculture, but if we could learn to use the water that goes towards agricultural uses, if we could learn to use it in a more effective way, it would really cut back on the amount of water that we waste. I mean, we can't live without agriculture, but if we use the water in smarter, more effective ways, that could benefit everyone, really. Why is water important? I think that's something that we should definitely look at. Water is a necessary intake of the body used for survival. You can't live without water, really. That's the bottom line. General knowledge suggests that a human can only go 3 days without water. Clean, safe water leads to a healthy body and less time being sick. I mean, yeah, you can't. I mean, the human body just cannot go without water. That's the bottom line. You need water to survive. Just continuing this, why water is important. It leads to a better education. This is particularly deals with Nigeria. It leads to a better education. If clean water is available, children will spend less time gathering it and more time in the classroom. Many Nigerian children are actually spending a good majority of their day gathering water, and that's not something. I know as a kid, myself, that's definitely not something I would want to do when I was, a kid. I wanted to go play and everything, go to school. I enjoyed going to school, and these kids do too, but it's a matter of education or survival. And they're spending their time gathering this water, and they don't have time to go to school. Water goes hand in hand with food. Access to water leads to crop production and lower levels of hunger, and that's a good point. You use the water for agriculture, it leads to food. That's basically how it ties in there. That's very important. In a country like Nigeria, access to clean water could help break the cycle of poverty. Water will help grow food, build houses, and keep bodies healthy, all essential to getting above the poverty line. Breaking the cycle of poverty is incredibly difficult without clean water. That right here, water will help grow food, build houses, and keep bodies healthy. That's all of the. That's 3 points that people suffering from poverty just don't have. They don't have enough food. They don't have proper housing. Many times they don't have healthy bodies, and water can help lead to solving all those problems and helping the people get above the poverty line. Water covers 70% of the earth, so it's easy to think that it will always be plentiful, but only a mere 3% of the water that covers the earth is fresh water. Much of it's, the ocean, which is salt water, and then, the remaining supposed fresh water is, polluted or, it's just not usable. Most of the available fresh water is trapped in frozen glaciers or otherwise out of reach for us. Yeah, I mean you think of the the North Pole, the South Pole. I mean that's all that frozen fresh water there. I mean that's all that it's frozen over. I mean that's a lot of water that we really don't have access to. Nigeria is one of the most populated countries in the world. According to the World Bank website, Nigeria's population was over 168 million in 2012, and that number is going to continue to grow. And as it grows, I mean, this problem's only going to get worse. Yeah, much of the future world population growth will actually occur in Nigeria. Nigeria is the biggest country in Africa, and so I mean, they've already got a very large population. It's only going to continue to grow as the years go by, and I mean that's gonna, like I said, it's gonna make the problem worse. Nigeria is expected to pass the total population of the U.S. by the year 2050. It could actually occur before that as well. They're growing very rapidly over there. And an expanding population will likely mean more citizens to face the effects of lack of clean water. That's very sad to think about. As many people know, Africa as a whole is still a developing country. Water scarcity has long been a problem in Africa, Nigeria included. I mean, it seems like forever. They've struggled with this. The Water Project website actually summed it up best and said, "Water is the foundation of life." And if you think about it, it really is. With a large population comes a great demand for fresh, clean water. Nigeria is rich in abundant water resources, but much of it is untapped. That goes back to the economic water scarcity. It's there, but they just can't get to it. Without proper means to tap into the water resources available, water scarcity will remain a problem in Nigeria. More than 97,000 kids die every year in Nigeria from diarrhea caused by drinking unsafe water. I mean, like I said, the body can only go without water for so long, and if they don't have clean water, they're gonna drink what they can, what they do have, and a lot of times it's not clean, it's not safe, and that really takes its toll on the body, and a lot of kids end up getting sick and dying from drinking the unsafe water. The United Nations actually did kind of like a study, and they estimated that Africa loses 40 billion hours per year collecting water, and that actually equals a whole year's worth of labor by France's entire workforce. And I talked about that earlier. I mean they spend so much time gathering water. That's, you just look at that number. That's crazy to think about. There is one thing that they have in Africa, something that's actually really cool. It's called the roundabout play pump. It's a really cool thing. It's kind of like a toy, or like a not really a toy, but it's kind of like a little park play place for kids in a way, I guess. They go on it, and they play on it, but it's actually pumping water in the process. This is one of the ways Nigerians are able to collect water. This water pump system uses the energy from playing children to draw water from the ground. And here's a picture of how it works. You have the roundabout play pump right here, and the children, they don't have any problem getting, volunteers, so to speak, to pump the water, because they're going on this little device here, and they're essentially just playing. They'll move it around and play on it, and that actually pumps water, draws water from the ground. It'll pump it up into this reservoir tank up here, and then it's just easily accessible for anyone that just turns on the tap right here. Water will flow out. If this ever gets full too, it's got a little overflow. It'll send the water right back into the ground, right where the pump is. So if the tank runs out and needs more water pumped up, it's right there for them to get. It's a really cool thing that they have going. There is ways that some people in Nigeria try to conserve the water, and they really have to. I mean, they have to do all that they can. They do all that they can to get the water. Then they have to. I mean, what they do have, they really do need to make sure that they don't waste any of it. And I mean, it's not an easy process getting this water. A lot of it is it's retrieved and carried using these things called jerry cans, and when they're full, they usually weigh around 44 pounds, and they a lot of times they're carrying these things several kilometers, from where they draw the water to where they're going with it. So I mean, that's not an easy task, and not to mention a lot of times these people are undernourished as well, so their bodies really take a toll from this whole process of getting water. There is a couple organizations out there that are working actually to make sure that try to help these people out any way that they can. One of them is the Water Project. This is actually a site that I got a lot of my information from. It was a really informative site. It was a good find. The Water Project. It's a nonprofit organization unlocking human potential by providing sustainable water projects to communities in sub-Saharan Africa who suffer needlessly from a lack of access to clean water and proper sanitation. They help communities gain access to clean, safe water by providing training, expertise, and financial support for water project construction. This is uh, this is actually a really good organization. They don't make any money. Any money that gets brought into them, they turn around, they put it into efforts to help the African people. Another one is the Water Aid. They kind of do the same thing. Uh, they just have different ways of going about it. This actually the Water Aid organization actually began work in Nigeria in '95, so they've been around for a long time, nearly 20 years now. Last year they actually they reached 119,000 people with safe water, and they helped 209,000 people get proper sanitation in Nigeria, which is really good for them. What can you do here? I mean, I kind of think that's important. We need to do our part to help them and just help the world. I mean, saving water that we do have. Obviously there's a limited amount of fresh water currently on this earth. I mean, it's not anything that is just abundant and unlimited really. There is a limited amount. Well, we need to save what we can and conserve what we have. And if you can, give to these organizations. They do good work. The Water Aid, the Water Project, like I just talked about. I mean, just small donations to them can go a long way, really. Because when you think about it, like if you're giving, you know, $3, $5, whatever, $10, small amounts like that to these organizations, its effects are far greater than just that small amount. I know when I was researching, it said a $3 donation actually turns into like a $30 economic uh, turn there. I mean, it's a big turnover. And just like some things that you can do around your house to help save water, always turn off taps tightly so they don't leak. Promptly repair any leaks. A small leak can actually lead into a much bigger problem. You can lose, and waste many gallons of water just from a small leak. And use when you're using cleaning products, obviously that's you're gonna use cleaning products. Use environmentally safe ones because, like I said, a lot of the water that we do have is just it's polluted. So if you're using products that are safe for the environment, you're gonna do your part not to pollute any more of the water we have available. And just in summary here, I mean, obviously water scarcity is a real problem in Nigeria, along with many parts of Africa. Really, I mean, it's a problem that's only going to worsen as the population of Nigeria grows. I mean, it's already a problem with the people that they have, and as the population gets bigger, they're not going to gain any more water. That what they do have is just going to have to be somehow distributed to more people, which is kind of crazy to think about. Conservation of the water available is crucial for Nigerians, and we must do our part to assist those in need. And really, this last point here is very big. Don't take your water for granted. There's so many people out there that would kill to have the water that we have, the clean, accessible water. Just don't take what you have for granted, because you never know, like, what people are doing, you never know what people are going through, and what they would do to be in your situation, really. So just don't take it for granted. And here's just my works cited, different my different web pages that I accessed, and I just want to thank you for watching. I hope I've kind of opened your eyes a little bit to the problem that water scarcity is in Africa, in Nigeria, and just don't take your water for granted. Conserve what you can. Leave the world a better place than what you found it when it comes to water. I just want to thank you for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day.